It's a multi-billion-dollar business that you can vote yes or no on, but it comes with serious questions about crime, safety, and your health.
So we sent WLWT News Size investigative reporter Todd Dykes north to Michigan to find out what people there have learned about recreational marijuana. And Todd joining us now with more on what exactly he found out. Hi there.
Hi, Sri and Mike. Yeah, long drive up. Worth it, though, to understand the lay of the land in Michigan. Michigan's legal pot program is now in its 5th year, and those serious questions, well, they're still being asked. That matters because Ohio voters will decide the future of legal weed here tomorrow at the polls.
Recreational marijuana dispensaries like this one in Lansing, Michigan could take root in cities like Cincinnati if Ohio voters pass Issue 2 on Tuesday.
I would imagine Ohio will probably mirror Michigan in a lot of ways.
The Wolverine state embraced full legalization in 2018, a move that was met with a mix of enthusiasm and anxiety.
Really, I think the reason the voters of Michigan decided to vote yes on our proposal was because prohibition was a failure.
You know, initially from a law enforcement standpoint, it was the unknown.
Ron Wiles is deputy director of Michigan's Association of Chiefs of Police.
Is it good, bad, ugly? What do you make?
So I don't know if it's good, bad, or ugly. It's a mix of all that, depending on how you look at the issue. It wasn't as bad as what we originally anticipated.
For people like Wiles, the jury on adult cannabis use is still out.
What impact will this have on our kids? We don't know that yet because we're only, 5 years into it in the state of Michigan.
Wiles says a pressing concern is a rise in deadly traffic crashes.
The fatalities are going through the roof right now. Now, is that all because of marijuana? I am not saying that. But it happened. It's a fact. Those fatalities go up. Did marijuana play a role in that? Potentially. We see more drug driving cases now than we do alcohol impaired driving cases now.
What frustrates police is the lack of easy-to-use, reliable tests that could prove if accidents are tied to marijuana use. Advocates, meanwhile, are feeling a lot less frustrated. They argue legalization has been a boon, not a bust.
All of the misconceptions that that surround cannabis, have for the most part been proven not to be true.
Sam Usman has dispensaries on both sides of the state in cities like Detroit and Muskegon. He's eager to learn the fate of Issue 2, knowing it could dent recreational and medical marijuana sales in Michigan.
It's not new to Ohioans because they're coming up to Michigan by the drove. So, I mean, I'm pretty sure that Ohio's going to appreciate some of the tax revenue that Michigan's getting right now.
We raised over $325 million in tax revenue for Michigan last year.
And the sales volume is staggering.
This year in Michigan, we should do $3 billion plus in sales, just this calendar year.
John Frazier is a lawyer who helps companies comply with Michigan's marijuana rules, which are designed to make sure the drug is properly tested and out of reach of kids. He says if Ohioans approve recreational marijuana, the first batch of people waiting to make a purchase won't be strangers to the plant.
Most of the people that are going to be customers in the Ohio regulated marijuana market are already marijuana consumers, right? They've just been doing it illegally. And now we're bringing that out of a state of prohibition, allowing people to have safe, regulated access to it.
But access to cannabis means different things to different people, especially someone like former police chief Ron Wiles.
We hope it doesn't have any direct relation to an increase in crime or mental health issues, but we don't know that yet. So those are all questions that we tried to find answers to. Some of those are a work in progress.
Now, when it comes to traffic safety and marijuana, Wiles talked about training programs for police officers, including one that's offered by the Ohio State Highway Patrol. It teaches police to be drug recognition experts and can involve more than 100 hours of training. Todd Dykes, WLWT News 5.